This is your no bullshit guide to a happier life. Quick, but not necessarily easy tips to help you to squeeze every last drop of enjoyment out of your business and your life. My name is Helen Calvert. I'm a coach, a business owner and a parent, and I'm so happy to be here with you. I do swear occasionally, as the title suggests, so pop in your headphones if I'm not safe for little ears. Ready to go? Let's do this. This episode is sponsored by travel counsellor Catherine Mackey. Catherine offers a highly personal service using her experience, expertise and passion for travel and adventure to find the perfect holiday for her clients, matching their personal requirements and budget with a travel experience that they will remember forever. She specialises in designing bespoke itineraries packed with amazing experiences across all corners of our beautiful planet. My family and I use Catherine regularly, and I can confirm that she takes all of the stress out of travel planning. From planning the perfect trip, organising all of the details and keeping us on track, to managing any problems that arise once we are away, Catherine is a lifeline for anyone who loves travel but hates the stress. If you are ready for your next adventure, get in touch with Catherine today. All you will then need to do is look forward to putting on your out of office and getting away from it all, knowing that whilst you're relaxing, Catherine is at the end of the phone for anything you need along the way. Head to travelcounsellors.co.uk/Catherine.Mackey, that's Mackey, or find Catherine at Catherine Mackey TC, T for Travel, C for Counsellors on Instagram. Hello and welcome to this episode where we're going to be talking about help. I can't relax. If you find unstructured time, just a full, clear day, a day with nothing to do, if you find that blissful, you don't need to listen to this episode, because this episode is for those of us who struggle with that and who might feel a little bit weird because we struggle with that, because we're maybe overwhelmed, we're busy, we're stressed, we're tired, or we just fancy a break. We don't want to be working all the time. And yet when we have a break, if we have time to do nothing, in inverted commas, we don't know what to do with ourselves. We don't know how to handle it. We can't cope. We end up sliding back into doing work because it feels familiar and comfortable. We really don't know what to do with just time. If that is you, you are not alone. You are not weird. It's okay. And I have some of the answers. So I hear a lot of people say that they find it hard to switch off. That's the phrase, isn't it? How do I switch off? At the end of the day, the weekend, when we're on holiday, if we just have time, if someone has granted us some time to ourselves, if we've carved out some time to ourselves, we expect to be able to switch off. And then when we can't, we worry and we say we really struggle. So for a start, let's get rid of that idea of it being a switch. It's not a switch. We don't go on and off between different states, any different states. You know, our different emotional states, mental states, we don't switch on and off, we transition. So firstly, let's think of it as a transition. When you are in doing mode, as I call it, when I'm doing all my jobs, getting stuff done, all this stuff we've talked about this season about getting shit done, when I'm in doing mode, ticking stuff off the list, boosh, 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 loving it. It's a transition between that and relaxation. You can't just flick a switch. That's not how we work. And that is true, as I say, of transitions between all kinds of different states. This is a separate discussion, but just as an aside, if we are very busy and somebody wants to be intimate with us, that's not a switch either. That's a transition to sensuality. So it's all transitions. And it's thinking about what helps us to transition from one state to another. People will say to you, meditation or massage or all these lovely tools that help us to relax and some self-care. A lot of the tools I talk about in season 2 of this podcast, all of those are brilliant things, but you might need to transition first before you can indulge in them. So if I go for a massage and I'm fully in doing mode, I love the massage. It's still fabulous. But the whole time I'm thinking, yeah, and then I've got to do this, and I've got to do that, and I must call that person back, and I must send that email. Whereas if I've managed to transition into a more relaxed state before I go for the massage, I can more fully indulge in it and get more from it. So for me, probably my key transition trick is using music. I started this, I think this year is where I've really got to grips with this, although I have used it in this way a little bit before. But I now have different tracks saved on my playlists that help me transition into different states. So this works because for me, music cuts through the noise in my brain. When certain songs come on, I can't help but dance. Or perhaps with certain songs, you may recognize this, I can't help but cry. Straight away you're back in a particular headspace. Or they immediately help me relax, or they take me to a different headspace. It's not a choice. Some songs come on and they just do something to my emotional state or my mindset, and it cuts through everything. So for me, if I'm struggling to transition, I usually put on the right tunes. For other people, it could be a quick walk. Not that you have to walk far. We're not talking about going for a walk, but just going around the block, getting out in the fresh air, walking around the block, moving your body, going from your front door, round the block, back to your front door could be enough to transition you to a different state. And you may have your own things that work, and it's worth thinking about what can help you to transition. Once we've transitioned, there we are. We're in a different headspace now. We've taken off all the doing and we're ready to enjoy some time for ourselves. What the hell are we going to do? How does this even work? Well, here's a few ideas. Firstly, if you go back to episode 73 earlier this year, I talk about meeting our needs. I talk about meeting our needs all the time anyway, but identifying and meeting our needs. If you have been following me for some time, you should already have a list of your needs. If you don't, do not worry. What I mean by a list of your needs is the things that when they happen, or when you do them for yourself, or when you get them, your day or your week or your time is a little bit more pleasant. So coffee is on my list. Everyone knows that I'm a coffee addict. Hot shower, dancing around to my tunes, getting out in the sunshine if there is any, time in nature, time just with friends. There are certain social interactions that are hugely cup filling. Obviously, I also talk about sex. We can't leave that off the list. Orgasms, however you have them and whoever you have them with. You don't have to have them with anybody. They're an important need. Rest and relaxation, naps, all this good stuff. And you will have your own. Some of them are common to most of us, like hydration, sleep, healthy food. Some of them will be unique to you, things that if you get them, you just feel better. An episode of trash TV, a favourite podcast, whatever it might be, particular hobbies. Have those needs listed out, because then when you do get some time, you can have a look through that list and think to yourself, what haven't I done in a while? If you know that you really enjoy knitting or gardening or flower arranging or building Lego or whatever it might be, what haven't you done for a while? Could you pick that up today? So what do you feel like doing? Sometimes just looking down the list will help you to recognize, yeah, that's what I feel like doing. That's the thing that I need today. So you go with that. So having that list of needs yet again is such a bonus because it helps us to remember. Some people I know, rather than having a list, they might have a box of joy or a toolbox or whatever you want to call it, physical box that has in it little reminders of things they enjoy doing. So maybe it's got the knitting needles in there, or maybe it's got the colouring pens in there, or, it's got some reminders or some flashcards reminding you of things, whatever it might be. You can have some physical items in a little box and you open it up. This is the stuff I do when I've got time. This is what helps me to relax and enjoy life. So that's the first thing, having a look through that list of needs. And then This is my favourite thing for unstructured time. I make a list. Would you believe it? I make a list. If we are the kind of people who thrive on a to-do list and we are used to working through our to-do list and we like the buzz of ticking things off and it helps us to understand how to structure our time, why would we deprive ourselves of that during the time that is literally for us and for our relaxation? When I have a day or a few hours or just some time ahead of me to do with as I please, I still make a list. And you can still make it the same way we've discussed getting through our task list. You can put 3 things on it. And when you've done those, you can pick another 3. Or you can have a big list of stuff that you'd like to do and work through it, however you want to structure it. But there is nothing wrong with having a list for relaxation. So this is our mindset block alert for this episode. You are not weird or boring if you have to have a list to help you to have a nice, relaxing day. There are no rules. And it is better to actually feel better because you've done lots of nourishing things than to seem normal and have a day where you don't really do anything because you can't cope without a list. And I use the word normal very loosely because what the hell does it mean and who would want to be, quite frankly? But I know that many of my listeners are neurodivergent, you have mental health challenges, you're overwhelmed, you just find it hard to move from one mental state to another, whatever it might be. It's absolutely fine and, in fact, very much encouraged to do whatever helps you to actually relax and enjoy life, not to appear like you're relaxing and enjoying life. So there is nothing wrong with having a relaxation list. Having said that, though, it's also important that we learn how to tune in to where we are in the moment. And this is something that if we are getting through a to-do list, very busy, doing lots of different things on a day-to-day basis, we probably suppress quite a lot and don't tune in that much. Because if we tune into our body and it has a particular need, or we tune into our emotions and there's something there, well, we haven't got time to deal with that anyway, have we? So we best just forget it, which is not a healthy way, but I know that's what a lot of us do. So when we have some clear time, it's really important to do some tuning in. By which I mean, firstly, tuning in to what our body is telling us. So just doing a body scan. This is something you can do as part of meditation, but you don't have to be meditating to do it. Sit down, lie down, preferably somewhere quiet, close your eyes. You don't have to close your eyes. I think it helps if you do. And then just work from your toes up to your head or from your head down to your toes and just feel every part of your body and feel into what it's telling you it needs. You don't have to meet those needs, it's entirely up to you, but it will give you some other ideas of what perhaps you need to be doing in your day. And then tune in to your emotions. Well, how do we do that if we're not used to doing it? We take some time and sit in stillness. So again, it's very different from our usual mode of being, but we lie down or sit down, go somewhere quiet and just be. And we resist that because we don't know what's going to come up. This is why we watch TV and listen to podcasts and listen to music and do other things and scroll on our phone, because if we're just quiet, all we'll have is our thoughts and our emotions. What might they come up with? Well, this is the time to find out, because our emotions are just signposts to what we need. So if the emotion of anger is coming up, what do you need to release? If the emotion of sadness is coming up, firstly, do you just need a nap? But what do you need? What are your emotions telling you that you need? And then can you add all these things that you're discovering to your list for the day? It's great to have a list if that helps you, but tuning in is really important as well, because otherwise we can work through a list that sounds amazing and then still not really feel that great at the end of the day. And it's because we haven't really tuned in to what we actually need. A very simple reminder of things we might need that you will have seen, no doubt, on social media, as I have. This particular one comes from an Instagram account called Emily Eyes. Can't quite pronounce that, but I know that a lot of people have put up a similar post. So it says, if you feel like you hate everyone, eat something. If you feel like everyone hates you, have a nap. If you feel like you hate yourself, have a shower. And if you feel like everyone hates everybody else, go outside. How beautifully simple and yet absolutely accurate. I think we can all agree that we've had those feelings and realised that there are some fairly simple things we can do to overcome them. So, if you can't relax without a list or some structure, give yourself a list and some structure. That is excessive kindness, which is how I want us to treat ourselves, because that way we can squeeze every last drop of enjoyment out of life. Speak to you next time. Thank you so much for listening. Did you know that my first book is now available to purchase online? Check out the show notes for details of how to get your hands on a copy. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd be so grateful if you could leave me a review, and don't forget to subscribe so you know when new episodes are up. If you would like to work with me one-to-one or follow more of my content, you can find out how in the show notes. See you next time.